Analysts from Moody's to IHS Global Insight to the Economic Policy Institute and others all estimate the Recovery Act has created or saved between 500,000 and 750,000 jobs. Matter of fact, some notable economists suggested the number is as high as 1 million.
All right, so is he right, or should we stop the spending now? Let's bring in Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform, and Democratic strategist Zara Buck. Hello to both of you. Grover?
Yeah.
Is the vice president right, or is he wrong?
Look, it's nonsense. The idea that you can take $1 out of the economy through debt or taxes and move it over and hand it to somebody for political purposes and make the economy stronger makes no sense. If you take a bucket of water out of one side of a lake and pour it into the other side of the lake doesn't get deeper. Worse, you damage the people who create wealth, jobs, and opportunities by taking their money, and you reward the politically connected. The whole effort at doing this quote-unquote stimulus package was to hand out money to the coalition that elected Obama, Reid, and Pelosi.
Let me go to Zara Buck, because Zara, the facts are that recovery is on the way. We're going to have positive GDP in the third quarter, Zara. So is Mr. Biden right to take credit?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the facts speak for themselves. You have $360 million has gone to improve rural water systems. You've got $1.2 billion will go to hospitals and doctors to improve and move them towards implementation of electronic records. You've got recovery funds are going towards the 20 Superfund sites. You've got 2,300 construction projects on military facilities. Yeah. And not to mention countless highway and infrastructure projects that are going on. They all lead back to one thing, Larry, and that's jobs, jobs, jobs. I mean, it doesn't lie. And can he take credit for it? Absolutely.
Where are these jobs?
A lot of this money has not yet gotten there. I mean, the reality is it's in the pipeline, sure, but why do we need it in the pipeline if the economy's already back on track? Who needs it a year from now? We could have used it 6 months ago.
Well, these are short-term as well as long-term projects, so they aren't just to boost the economy just this year. I mean, it goes on for
right, but the economy's already back on track. In other words, if the economy's already back on track, why do we need money that's going to come next year or in the next year and a half? I mean, it seems to... Go ahead, Grover.
Because the election is next year. This so-called stimulus package, which we were told we had to hurry up and pass before we read it. Remember, they ran it through, didn't allow the Democrats in the House or the Senate who voted for it to read it, didn't let the American people read it. Had to do it. Much of the spending takes place just before the 2010 election. This has
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Hang on.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say there were very scary days last September when Lehman went down. All hell was breaking loose on Wall Street, and a lot of people felt, yes, we needed stimulus. The problem was we need it in the here and now, or we needed it right then. This stimulus package, the majority of the funding was going to take at least a year to get to the people.
And Zara, if I could just challenge you on this point, putting aside the timing, you've now created, the administration has created $9 trillion of new debt. A worrisome fact. Essentially, we're borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and the dollar may suffer and the inflation rate may rise. How do you account for that? I mean, these projects that you describe, you're not really dealing with the big picture story here. $9 trillion in new debt and borrowing, which may be a burden for economic growth.
Well, sure. I mean, look, the Obama administration had to deal with the cards that they were dealt. Now that they came up with a solution, they were elected back in November to bring some type of solution to the American people. That's why they are in office. That's why they have put forward this plan. Now, I mean, in terms of the long-term effects, I am no economist, nor do I play one on television. So, look, all I can say is jobs are being created, people are getting back to work, and now you see that this economy is rebounding. Now's not the time to walk away from it. Now's the time to continue these projects and allow these funds to get in the pipeline.
At some point, Grover, we'll give you the last word. If the economy does grow at 3%, I mean, the jobs outlook is pretty cloudy, but the economy is probably going to grow at 3%. Do you set a limit, Grover? Do you put a spending limit? Do you put a debt limit? Do you put any limits, or do we just have fiscal obesity for as far as the eye can see?
Well, the country should set a limit. The problem is we've elected a House, a Senate, and a President who are spending for political reasons to do political things, and it has nothing to do with the economy. So they're going to keep spending on government spending programs, whether the economy gets better or worse. Doesn't matter.
All right. It's going to be the last word.
Okay,
I disagree,
we'll leave it there.